Coming up today on the Prosperity Nation podcast.
The main purpose for any kind of insurance is to protect your goals. That's what it's there for. Because if you have goals that you're working on in your life and something happens to you, how are those goals going to get funded if you're not there to fund them? Welcome to the Prosperity Nation podcast. I'm Angie.
And I'm Elise.
And we're glad you're here with us. Today we're going to be talking about another interesting retirement type topic, which is, I shouldn't say retirement. It's more of like goals strategy, which is life insurance. So stay with us. Don't go to sleep. I know it can be boring. Don't run and avoid it because I'm not going to sell you a life insurance policy. I'm not knocking on your door. Just want to help you understand. But hey, Elise, before we jump into it, weren't you putting in some new closets or doing custom closets in your house lately?
Yes.
How's that going?
Yes. Well, it was supposed to be today and I'm here. So we'll just start with that.
Uh-oh. Something went wrong, it sounds like.
Yes. And I'm like, I don't know. I was really looking forward to it being today. And I called yesterday to check in on what time they were coming. And they're like, oh, well, there's a design change. So we had to we had to basically remove your installation date until we got everything sorted out. But then they're like, we got it sorted out last week, so we can reschedule you. And I'm like, then why didn't anyone call me?
Oh my gosh.
I know.
So you're waiting around, to try and plan your whole day?
Yes. I was waiting around trying to plan my whole day. I didn't schedule meetings because it was supposed to be super noisy. And I was really annoyed because nobody told me that it was ever even canceled. And I had to call to find out that it was canceled. I know. So I'm a little pet peeved. But I think it's my pet peeve is because no one told me. It's just a lack of communication. That's all.
Yeah, I hear you. It's just waiting around. It's like waiting around for the utility guy to come and they give you a 7-hour window. What are you supposed to do with that?
No, but then they could have called me last week.
Exactly.
So I had to schedule it now 2 weeks out.
Okay, so you've got your, your nice and polite and professional Elise on so that you don't tell us what you really want to say.
Oh my gosh. I was so annoyed. I don't even know. Yeah, I was trying to be nice. I mean, I don't like to be mean to people because I know a lot of people, I've worked customer service, I worked retail a lot. And I know a lot of times the person you're speaking to can't actually do anything about it. So it's like, and I also worked in a bank. That was fun. Speaking of being yelled at for no reason.
What?
People would overdraw their accounts all the time. I was a customer service, so I would be like a call person. Oh. They would overdraw their accounts and then they'd yell at me like it was my fault. And I'm like, I'm sorry, you should manage your money better. I don't have to tell you.
Hey, our clients still do that, don't they? I mean, if they have to pay taxes, don't they get mad at us? What's wrong?
What? Wait,
that's hilarious.
What am I doing with my life? I guess it's just my calling. But yeah, so it was just annoying, but we got it rescheduled. All right.
Well, that's good. So a couple more weeks you have to wait now?
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be awesome. It's all custom and getting your closets all organized, right? Awesome.
I have my shoes and purses all nice and pretty now.
Sweet.
Oh my God.
I just throw them away. I just I don't have enough space. Throw all my clothes away. Start over.
I'm a purse girl. I don't care. The shoes, clothes. I like clothes, but yeah, it's all about the bags.
Nice. So. Which is a great investment to make when you work from home and stay home and just go to the beach. You probably don't even take your purse with you anywhere.
No, I do. But
okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing. I look forward to hearing the outcome of it because I know that it's going to look great. So.
It will. It's been a long journey, but I'll send you pictures.
Okay. Well, hey, let's get on to talking about this life insurance stuff here.
Let's do it.
It's one of those things that it's confusing. First off, we all know that life insurance, and we don't understand why we need it or why it's even there. And by the way, did you know what drives life insurance stuff? What's behind all of it, of why people care about using life insurance for investing or using life insurance for retirement planning or goal setting up? Did you know that it's the IRS behind all that?
I was just going to say taxes, but then I held my tongue. Oh my God.
It's always taxes behind the scenes.
That's my answer for every question you ask me.
It is. Lots and lots of IRS tax code sections on life insurance and what is a life insurance, what isn't a life insurance, what's taxable, what's not taxable. It's very complex. And there are some great, strategies for putting your money into a tax-free investment in your whole life insurance policies. And it allows it to grow and invest in the market or mirror the market, depending on which kind of policy that you get. And then when you go to take it out later, you can borrow the money out. And the IRS, fortunately, doesn't tax loans yet. Who knows what they're going to do in the future. So if you borrow money from somebody, from the bank or whatever, you don't get taxed when you get that money, right? So the same thing with your life insurance policy. So it's a way to save up and not have to pay tax while it's growing and then get the money out later and not have to pay tax too. So that can be one of the ways that people use them for the future, for future goals.
And it's good in case something does happen. Then you have the cash and, the policy for whatever you need. You're survivors,
exactly.
I guess.
Yeah. But, a lot of times people they come and ask, well, do I get a term policy or what's a whole life policy? And, there's so many different types of policies.
I know term is generally shorter or not shorter. I mean, it's obviously shorter because there's a term unless something happens. But
now, what does term mean anyway, right?
It's just like a set period of time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's you could, I don't know what they are or what the standard are, but yeah, it'd be I just have this for 10 years. But I never understood term because you pay into it. And even though the monthly premiums are normally less than a whole life, which would be the entirety of your life, it's done. When the term is done, it's done. So it's almost and in my mind and what I kind of related it to is almost the term is you're renting a home versus whole life would be you purchase a home, and you're putting in the money, you're making the improvements to the whole life, on the monthly premiums, and you can actually benefit from those. But the term is you make it the repairs and stuff, but then once you move out, it's you don't get the money back.
That's a perfect. There you go. Yeah. Show's over.
Yes. Taxes.
Taxes. That's right. Have you gotten your life insurance license yet, Elise? Because that was a great explanation that you have.
Not yet, but soon.
You've got a few more tests to pass first, yes. I know.
Yeah. It's on the agenda. But.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we do have our life insurance licenses here. We are a life insurance agency, but our purpose here is not to go sell a lot of policies to our clients or to anybody else, but we are here and available for using them in the strategies for achieving goals. And we want to be that person that guides you through that process. That's why we do it. But it's really important to understand, I think, who's giving you advice when you're going to decide whether to buy a life insurance policy and what type of policy to get. I think that's really important because, if I have a thing I don't like about the insurance industry is that there's not a lot of required education to get your insurance licenses. And yet they're positioning themselves as your advisor. And, versus if for me, I have my personal finance specialist credential, which you can only get if you're a CPA. So the years of education required and the years to get your CPA license and then to get the PFS credential, it's like a 10-year journey, a lot of topics. And so there's just quite a bit of difference when you're getting advice from somebody who has a lot of training and some credentials versus someone, who last week, 19 years old, took the life insurance, got his license, and he's going to make a, 5-figure commission off selling you something, right?
It's wild.
There's motive behind there that gives the industry a black eye, which it should in that regard. Anyway, my point is this. I don't want to bash on. I'm an insurance agent too. And, some of the firms are kind of like recruiting firms. They're just there to recruit people, kind of like a multi-level. And so you just have to, I think, inquire into the person you're talking to about buying the life insurance from, find out more about them, find out their credentials, find out, what they know, and if they're advising you or are they selling to you. And make sure that you do your own due diligence on it and kind of understand.
Yeah, and I don't know why I had this thought as you were talking, but this might be way off base, but I was thinking about a pharmaceutical rep as kind of like a comparison of not like they're selling their drugs. And so it's like the drug that is like the industry trying to push. The drug the industry is trying to push is like the one the doctors are going to sell. I wonder how like that might parallel like the life insurance. Like if there's a new life insurance product that they have and they, train all the new reps. And now that's like what all the reps are trying to sell. Not necessarily, I'm not saying any of the life insurance agents or reps are doing anything wrong. But at the same time, it's like the hot new thing. Like, let's just try to get people on it,
Yeah, it's the thing that's behind that is not because it's a hot new thing. Like in the broker world, if you're a licensed broker and you're selling stocks, your brokerage might push, for you to sell a certain stocks, right? Because they just did an IPO or they've got some inventory of stocks they need to get out to the client. So they're kind of being pushed through the broker to do that in a similar way. But in the life insurance, what drives it all is the commissions. Because all insurance is paid on commissions. And, where we are a CPA firm, we're an advisory firm, we're an RIA, we give advice. And for that advice, we charge flat rates, we charge based on, fee-based, and we charge based on hour. But in the insurance industry, you get paid on the commission. And the insurance industry does not use their advertising dollars for advertising about life insurance. They use them through the commissions and want the actual person talking to another person. So there's a lot of money there for commissions. So if a company wants to push a certain policy or they have a new policy, it's going to drive through commissions. And then, because it's a sales industry, a lot of other benefits like cruises or diamond rings or, the typical kind of sales incentives, because sales is hard work, by the way. So I'm not going to put anybody down who's a insurance salesman or any other salesman, because it's not easy, and especially in life insurance, because you have to help educate people on what it is and why it's important, why they need it, and then, get them to see that there's a need there and then get them to actuate and get to the actual policy.
That's true. So why would it be important then?
Why would which part be important?
Just having having life insurance.
Oh, that's great. Great question. And also kind of each policy has its own purpose. So a term policy has a purpose. Whole life policies have different purposes. The main purpose for any kind of insurance policy is to protect your assets or to protect your income. Most people don't think about it that way. They say, no, it's to protect your life. Not really.
Oh,
it's to protect your goals. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not called death insurance, But it actually is to protect your goals. That's what it's there for. Because if you have goals that you're working on in your life and something happens to you, how are those goals going to get funded if you're not there to fund them? And typically it's your family goals. So if you have a spouse, you have children, you want to get them to school through college, or you want to make sure that your spouse would be still well taken care of if you could no longer be there to earn. So you're protecting your future income or you're protecting your assets. And so if you died, then would you want to have a life insurance to be able to pay off a mortgage or something for your spouse? Or if you're, giving assets, you have legacy, you want to give them to the next generation, how are you going to protect those assets if something happens? Or here's another really important purpose for life insurance, which most people don't talk about, which you and I need to talk about, by the way. When you have a partnership, it's really important. If something happened to one of your partners and if they died, right? You wouldn't, if I died.
Oh, boy.
Who
we're not going to talk about that.
Hey, I don't mind talking about it. I'm not scared of death.
I know. It's not that.
But let's just say you're like, no, don't do it. Thank you. You love me. I love you too.
We would be equally screwed. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Exactly. The proportion might be a little different right now, but
hey, you'd be in business with my kids because they're my heirs and they're going to own my shares in our firm. And so you don't want that, and they don't want that.
You wouldn't want to be in business with Riggs.
No.
He will not be a good business partner.
I don't know. He might be a good business partner.
He'd be a silent partner.
Compared to you? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, he's not a silent partner, Elise. Are you kidding?
Okay, that's fair. And he smells, French bulldogs tend to...
Yeah, that would be a pretty shitty partner.
Literally.
Yeah. But that point is like, how are you going to have the money to buy out a partner who passes away or their family? Like if you own a construction company and one of the partners dies, do you want the wife to step in and be your partner? Probably not, right? But if you don't have the money to pay out the estate, then that's what's going to happen. So if you have a life insurance on your business partner and you have it on each other, then if something happens, you get to be the beneficiary of the life insurance, and then you can buy the shares out of your other partner and have that first right to do that so that you don't automatically have to go into business with the heirs.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's really important. So that's one of the ways. And then term insurance is really good use to make sure that your short-term goals are covered. Usually I really recommend that people who have children they want to fund to go to college, that they have at least a term policy that goes through raising the children and funding college so that your spouse can then have the money to keep those goals going in the way that you wanted them to go. A whole life policy is going to last much longer than that. So it's very common to have a whole life policy that you're funding that's going to be with you for the rest of your life. So no matter when you die, you're covered. But you can also supplement that with term policies for these shorter true things and do both.
Oh,
yeah.
That's pretty interesting. I mean, I know just from my studying, there's so many more types. And then you get into all the intricacies of each, but that's, I feel like, pretty basic and really helpful, I think, kind of differentiating why you would want either.
Yeah. And the whole life policies, they have what's called the cash surrender value. So it basically builds up investments for you inside the policy. So when you're making those monthly payments, you're paying into I'm going to just not say this correctly for purpose of understanding. It's like you're paying into an investment account or bank account and you're paying for the insurance. So you're getting the benefit of the insurance with that monthly payment and you're building up your investments. Each policy is structured in a different way. And so it's, I know it's too hard to sit down and read them. Most people aren't going to understand it. But a good insurance advisor, the person who is working with you on the policy, should be able to help you understand that and help you make a really good choice that matches your level of risks that you're willing to take on.
Interesting.
I know, right? Who knew?
I know.
So much.
I've had an insurance policy. My grandma opened one for me when I was 3. And I've had it ever since. I don't even know why. I didn't know what it was. I think when I first started working with you, I actually had to ask you. I have 3 and I don't even know why. What do they do?
Yeah, exactly. It's so much to learn, and you just learn one piece at a time. And you know what? They are great savings vehicles, especially, oftentimes they're presented as a way that someone who's a terrible saver or isn't saving in an IRA or isn't, making that much money to actually, if you buy a life insurance policy, a whole life insurance policy, and even if you put $250 a month or $500 a month into it, it is a forced savings. You have to keep those payments going. And you know what? I did this a while back and I just bought a small whole life policy and I just put the money in. Well, several years after that, I just took that money out, loan, right? And I bought my house with it. Wow. I used it as a down payment. So, it can be a forced savings or an investment vehicle that you can access that money to pay for your kids' college or to buy a house or to, pay for medical emergencies or take a trip. So they actually can be really great uses for both a whole life and a term. It's just important to know why and what are you using the policy for to know if it makes sense for you or not.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
so
great.
Many questions that we can go over. I don't want to get too technical. It can get so boring, I guess. We
don't want to go to sleep. So
that's right. And we're not here to be like the technical tax codes experts. In fact, I know I tell you all the time, I don't want to be the tax code expert. We just want to know how to use all of these strategies to help you with your big picture on personal finances, treating your finances like a business, having strategies in place, knowing what your goals are, managing your cash flow, and projecting all your taxes. There shouldn't be any surprises in any of this stuff. It can be very well planned out, and that's what the important thing is. So if you plan it out and you see, oh my gosh, what if something happened? How are we going to cover that gap? Well, let's evaluate your insurance. Make sure you have enough insurance available to help you cover that gap.
Awesome.
So let's do this. We want to hear from you. So we know that you have questions and you've probably been told a lot of things about life insurance. And of course, you can do your own research, and we encourage you to do that and get educated and ask your questions. So we want to hear from you. If you have a policy, you don't know why you have a policy, if you're curious about what you should get or what's right for you or what's wrong for you, hey, we're here to help you sort it out. And, you'll learn, but we'll learn. We'll share what we've learned on the podcast, let other people learn. Let's just build our awareness, and let's just really get to that place where we're using all these vehicles to help achieve the goals that actually really matter.
Exactly.
So tell us.
Yes, share with us. The email you can share to is stories@prosperitynation.com. And you can also follow us on our social media and like and subscribe our podcast.
Awesome. Well, that's it for now. We will see you next time, and we look forward to hearing from you.
We'll see you later.
Thanks for joining us today. Follow us on social media for the latest episodes, updates, and more. Like and subscribe to videos from us on YouTube, and find out more at prosperitynation.com. That's it for now. We'll see you next time on the Prosperity Nation podcast.